Alright, hey, hello. Thanks for watching another video, I suppose. Sorry if I sound weird, I haven't been sleeping all that well due to allergies. Just I get congestion in the night and it's horrible. Hopefully, oh, here it is. Hopefully you don't hear the chicken in the background too often. Uh, I'll probably edit it out, all those quacks, but yeah, he's there. Hopefully you don't mind it too horribly. Uh, Admittedly, I've been slacking off on these videos. They're very basic. I don't want to put too much time into making them. Again, just a devlog for me myself. Admittedly, I've been playing too much Silksong and just haven't been sleeping all that well. Right now, I have a massive headache. That's bothering me a bit, but gonna power through it. Today's video is just gonna be showcasing the movement that I've done for the video game. I'm unsure whether or not I want to keep it like this. I'm kind of torn between making it a 3D environment versus making it a top-down, more closely resembling like Fear and Hunger, you know. But so far I've had it done in a 3D environment, and currently this video is just a time lapse of me getting into the creation of that 3D movement. I'm not sure if it's being shown yet, but I've done it so that the environment is sort of minimalistic, I suppose. I don't really know the correct terminology for it, but um, I kind of looked up a shader so that I can have this noise overlaid onto like a cube for the ground, and then I have it so that the colors on that ground match the three main colors that I have for the overall video game aesthetic. All right, and so let's just get on into the movement itself. And so the movement, I coded it so that whenever the player presses any of the directional keys, they'll move either forward, back, or they'll turn to the right or the left. And it's only these four directions, right? And so I coded it so that the movement was actually done within what's called a coroutine. I did this based off of my knowledge of Unity, and so these coroutines within Godot will be run regardless of what code is executing based off of player input. And so I'll show the code at the end. I'll talk about what problems I had when coding the movement and how the final code ended up turning out. All right. And so at the start, I had actually coded movement so that it was based off of the player positioning, and I ended up messing up just because the it was taking into account the current player movement, and that ended up causing some issues with how fast the player was traveling in these situations, and altering how long it would take them to essentially reach their destination. It didn't matter too much since at the end of every movement, we would have a small snippet of code that would just set their final position to the uh, end position that we wanted them to be in. So that didn't matter too much, but it did affect the timing of their movement, and I just wanted it to keep it the same throughout. And as for rotation, it was also done within a coroutine. And with this, I also had to make it so that they couldn't essentially go outside of the map area that I would eventually create. And so at the beginning, I wanted them to just do it simply with some raycasts, just a vector that we can use to detect collision. And in this case, I would just had four vectors, and if any of them collided, it would tell me, okay, you can't go this direction. But I had coded it based off of the rotation, just based on the four cardinal directions, And when using the rotation, players could actually still travel through certain objects since the raycast didn't detect it. during rotation. And so I actually had to fix that. And so the way I did so was by using what's called the shapecast. Similar to raycasts, it detects collision, but it does so based off of a like out of a shape, so we can detect a wider area. And so I just used that instead. And I have it so that we update the shapecast so that it's going to end up in the final position that we want the character to be in. And if it can move into that position, we do so. If not, then we don't do the movement. And overall, I kind of enjoyed the way the movement turned out. It feels very nice to be able to just click the directional keys and move in those directions. And it does so very quickly. It kind of feels, or rather, I kind of wanted it. I wanted it to feel a bit more like Inscription's movement. You know how if you ever played that game, when you move, you kind of do like this little forward jump, and I kind of wanted to get that a little bit here. Here you can actually see the code. This is the final code that I had. It's the completed version with all the bugs kind of worked out a little bit that I found right away, of course. And this is how the movement looks within the game itself. I've been working on this more on my off time as well, so I admittedly have it so that it's working within another scene, which I'll get into in my next video, I think. And so for the next video, I wanted to get to work on adding enemies into the world and actually allowing us to, or rather, allowing the player to trigger battles once they encounter an enemy, or rather, once they hit their hitbox. All right. And so, yeah, once again, thank you for watching. I hope to continue making these devlogs. They're not, too crazy in their editing, but I'm having a decent time just making these on the side, just to kind of document my journey creating this game. Okay, that'll be it. Thanks for watching.